Actually, without DNA, we actually have historical documentation and land patents. It's interesting that this man would own the land patent to someone else's tribes. Here are one of my ancestors' land patents. And isn't it interesting how you guys say that black people were enslaved by indigenous people, which is why they're indigenous, yet simultaneously there were completely free black towns on indigenous territories? Oklahoma, as in Tulsa and Greenwood, Oklahoma. I'm just trying to find where are the Native Americans who took advantage of the Homestead Act, in which alleged black people couldn't take advantage of until 1866. Now, if you go back, my ancestor owned his land in 1862. It's almost like in order to take advantage of the Homestead Act, you had to renounce your tribal affiliations. Where were y'all? It's almost like indigenous people couldn't even say they were indigenous until 1850 after they were already listed as Negro. It's so lucky that we depicted ourselves on Mayan murals with curls and dreadlocks, but I thought that the Maya all had straight hair. And luckily the Olmec left us actual sculptures of themselves. I thought indigenous people had straight hair. It's like someone presented this as their strongest piece of evidence, a 500-year-old mummy. Ooh.
Someone was in the Caribbean in 1424, 70 years before Columbus.
Menzies argued that in 1421, almost a century before Magellan, Zheng He's fleet had circumnavigated the world. He has expanded his theories in a best-selling book.
Now let's see what anthropologist, linguist, and archaeogeneticist Clyde Winters, the educator, has to say about DNA.
Unless it's ancient DNA, they just make a guess. Genetics is
so really it's a confirmation bias already pre-built into it.
It's worse than that because you already, whenever you use Bayesian statistics, they only present your idea you already held when you use them. It's not really testing the hypothesis. See, in science, you test a hypothesis. Things are based on a lie. The whole idea that people that white, black, and mongoloid people didn't meet until Columbus came on the scene is a lie. They'll teach you in a sense that only second frequency carry M1. African people carry M1.
Now let's cross-reference his information with a government source. It says the frequency of the R1B1 haplogroup in our sample, 17%, was higher than previously observed for the majority of the African continent. Of these R1B1 samples, it's defined by the VA8 marker, which is observed at 95% in some Central African populations. Pause and read, but here it's talking about D.